Today we're going to propagate our mulberry plant. We're going to prune it into cuttings and we're going to grow maybe 50 more little trees. And the way how I know it's ready is the berries have finished. There's not many more berries forming. We had a huge amount of berries. We ate all of them. This is all we have left, and this is the perfect time to prune it. So the first thing I'm going to do is just remove the remaining berries. It's just a few. Just take them off. It's okay. This one I'll eat it. Now, the timing of when you cut your plant, it matters. Don't do it in the morning, okay, because it's going to really stress the plant. During the day, it's getting the energy from the sun and all the leaves, and it's storing that energy away. It's not doing anything except getting energy. At nighttime, that's when it starts doing other stuff like repairing itself. So it's going to repair itself tonight. So you don't want to dry the plant out. You don't want to stress it too much. You want to make sure you're making clean cuts and you cut it in the right place. You want to make sure you do it in the evening. So I'll start here. What I'm going to do is just cut the tip. It wants to grow. It's going to grow more and more and more. So I want to stop it from growing. Instead, I want it to, when I make a cutting, I want to make roots. So I'm going to stop the growth just by cutting the top off. Okay, so now it's not going to grow anymore. Then you want, on this long one, this young one here at the tip, you should always shoot for about at least 5 nodes. For this one, I might go for a little bit more than 5. And I'll show you where I'm gonna cut it. Each of these leaves is where there's a node. You can see the little nodes here. Okay. Where you wanna cut it is just beneath the node. That's it. Now this one, it may survive, it may not. The young one is like young and vigorous. It wants to grow. It's really good at making roots. It's really good at, doing stuff. It's just a young, vigorous thing. The problem is because it's so thin, it can dry out quickly. So that's another reason you want to do it at nighttime or in the evening time so it doesn't dry out. And you want to get this in the substrate as soon as possible. This may survive, it may not. And what that's done by cutting it beneath the node is it allows the roots to go out. So if you cut it like in the middle, it can form roots, but it just helps it a lot. And then because the top is so far away from the next node, this top is going to have something called a die back. The top's going to die back a little bit, about an inch or so, and it could die back to this node. It's not a big deal, but it just kills that node. So you want to do it here so that the dieback shouldn't reach the next node here. So that's where you cut it. And then we'll do about 5 nodes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make a cut just beneath the node. And then we'll remove the leaves. It may survive and it may not because of how thin it is, but it should grow really quickly. Like 3 weeks, you should have roots and you can transplant it. Now, once you get low here, where it meets the parent branch, the mother branch, you want to leave at least 3 nodes. 1, 2, 3. I have 4. That's good. The reason why is these nodes can shoot out into new branches. So if you cut the whole branch off, then your tree is just not going to branch out as good. And I'm going to leave the leaves on. There's no need to take the leaves off. It'll still branch out, even with the leaves there. Now I'm going to start on this one. Now the woodier branches, like the thicker ones, it takes a little bit longer to root, but the success rate, the survivability, it's almost 100% because this thicker branch, it has so much stored energy and stored water. It's so resilient. It will take a little bit longer to root, but it's probably not gonna die. I'm actually not gonna cut this anymore. I'll leave the leaves on because no matter where I cut it, it's either gonna affect the mother plant. It's not gonna affect it, but it's gonna stop it from branching out, or it's just not a big enough cutting. So I'm not gonna cut that anymore. Look at this. Look at this. There's 2 nodes here. You see that? They got 2 leaves going out like that. I haven't seen that. It's the first time I've seen that. that's it. So what you're left with is each parent uh, branch has their younger branches still with nodes on them. These nodes can make new branches, new leaves, and it's encouraged to do that. Right now, it's in the phase it's already fruited, it's already this thing, it's getting a bunch of energy from the sun, and it's gonna say, okay, it's time to build more nodes. And it can't build nodes in all these other places we cut it off, so it can only build new branches at these ones we left it. So if you were to cut this off, these older branches, they don't want to, they're old now, like they're getting energy from the soil, nutrients from the soil, energy from the sun, and they're just not good at branching out. You can see down here, there is a new branch, so it's not impossible, it's just not as likely. And we left some leaves on these as well, so it can still get energy from the sun. It's gonna suffer from shock damage, but luckily, because it's getting dark, it's getting cool, the sun's not gonna dry it out. It's gonna be able to repair itself overnight in order to survive the hot sun tomorrow. So next thing I'm going to do is remove the leaves from my cutting. Some people say you should leave one leaf or leave half of a leaf. This is the thing about leaves, they do get energy from the sun, but they also use a bit of water from the stem. And right now, the biggest concern is not getting energy from the sun. The biggest concern is making sure it doesn't dry out. So I'm actually gonna remove all the leaves. If you don't do that, that's your choice. But in my experience, remove all the leaves so it doesn't dry out and put it in a humid environment. So what I've made here, I made a homemade substrate. Okay, you can buy perlite, you can buy coconut, I don't know. All you need is dry leaves, dry grass, and soak it in water for 30 minutes. So while I was cutting the mulberry, this has been soaking for about 30 minutes. So what you want to do is you want to let this rinse, and what this does is the way how it is have a lot of air pockets, right? And it just creates a humid environment, and that's what the plant needs to create roots. It needs humidity and it needs oxygen. So all the people who are putting their stemmings directly in water or directly in soil, it has a lower success rate. Doing it this way, it's almost 100% success rate because you're doing everything right. But I'll show you more about that in just a minute. Okay, we have 94 cuttings total. These thick, what you want to do is separate the thick ones from the thin ones. Okay, if it's thicker than a pencil, put on one side. If it's thinner than a pencil, put it on the other side. The reason why is you want to plant these separately. This one, the ones that are thinner than a pencil, it's going to start rooting within 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, the younger ones are more vigorous, they're more lively, they are just better at branching out, they're better at fruiting, they're better at making leaves, they're better at making fruits. These ones, they're a little bit older, especially you can see this one, this might take 6 weeks, maybe more, before it roots because it's older, it's not as vigorous. That being said though, these have a 100% success rate. As long as you do everything right, none of these should fail. It's going to take longer, but it shouldn't fail. These on the other hand, especially these very teeny tiny thin ones, it has a 70% success rate. So I'm expecting at least 70% of these to survive. I hope 100% survive. If you do everything right, hopefully they'll survive. If not, it's okay. Now I like to use the plastic because you can see through it, you can see what's happening. And what I like to do is put, not all of them, but put some on the edge so you can see what's happening. So when it does start rooting, you can see it clearly. You can see like the edges and everywhere, you can see the roots. So once you see the roots, you're gonna know it's ready to be taken. I actually need to put drainage holes. You have to. If you don't, it's gonna have like fungus, fungi. It's just not a good time. You also can put some on the edges just so it can breathe. The plants do need to breathe. And what you want to do is take your substrate, okay, just put it directly inside like that. That should be enough. Might put a little more. And then you just cover, once you put your cuttings in, what you would do is just cover the top so that it creates like a greenhouse, right? It makes a more humid environment. You also need to put a hole at the top. That way it have a ventilation. The air can come in, it can go out. That way it can breathe, but still have a humid environment. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some on the edge so that you can see, like, when the roots have formed, you'll be able to see it. Put some of the big ones on the edge because they will probably take the longest to root. Some of the older branches. I don't know, did I mention we have 94 cuttings? I was shocked. I did not really think we're gonna get that many. But 94 cuttings. So I'll put some on the edge. This one might be too big. It's definitely too big. Maybe I'll put this in the middle. Alright guys, so we just finished putting these into the bottle. We had a little bit of trouble because some of them were a little bit too long and it wouldn't fit. So we cut it off and luckily it all fit. Now the trick here is when it's inside, it creates a humidity, and that's what the roots need to root. It needs to have a very high humidity. It also needs to breathe. So we did not add any water. We did not water this at all. We just used the pre-soaked substrate, and that's just gonna release water into the air and it's gonna get trapped inside the plastic. You need to have a hole on the top and you need to have a couple holes on the bottom, which I do have. Here's one and then the other one is here. And that's just for ventilation, so it can breathe but still hold in moisture, and the moisture will fall and come back again. If it does dry out, you can spray it, give it a couple sprays, but don't overwater it, because if you overwater it, it'll like drown the node. It's gonna just not allow the node to breathe, and if it can't get air, it's not gonna form roots. And what you want to do with this bottle is you want to put it in a shade outside. Okay, it does need some bright indirect light. Don't put it in a very dark place. It needs bright indirect light, but don't put it under direct light because it's going to dry out, right? So these cuttings, they have no way to get moisture back inside themselves. There's no roots. It gets moisture through the roots. So these will dry out, especially if it's in the sunlight. So these are on a timer. They have until they dry out to actually survive. Now the good thing about the thick ones is they have a ton of stored water, they have a ton of stored energy, and they have a 100% success rating. If you do it like this, you do everything right, they do have a 100% success rating. The thin ones, however, they will dry out so quick, so fast, and if it dries out faster than it can make roots and absorb water, it will die. So it's on a timer. Now this one might take 2 weeks because it's so young. So then it might take 2 weeks to root and absorb water. If it doesn't absorb water quick enough before it dries out, it's just gonna die. So this is gonna help keep it moist, keep it out of the sun, keep it in shade, and every day they recommend, from what I've seen, every day you remove the top so it can breathe a little bit and make sure it's wet. If it's not wet, mist it, cover it. I don't really think you have to do that. Maybe once per week you could if you want, but it can breathe. That's why I put the little holes at the side and the hole on top. right? And now I'm gonna do the small ones next, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now the smaller stems, the nodes are closer together, right? They're a little bit closer together. So I'm not gonna put as much substrate in this one as I did this one. Might take some out. Because I'm only trying to cover about 2 nodes. See, if I put this in to the bottom, 2 nodes will be covered. Right? 2 or 3 is okay. It's not a big deal. But I do want at least 2 nodes to root, because when I plant it in the ground or in a pot, that's just more stability. It's able to get more water and nutrients. So I always like to do 2, maybe 3 nodes. 2 or 3 nodes underground. You want 2 or 3 nodes. The bigger ones, it's hard to see. The nodes are so far apart. So you really do need to put more substrate. And again, I'm gonna take some of the bigger ones and put it on the edge, because they're gonna take the longest to root. And once I see those roots, I'm going to know it's time to take them out and replant them in the soil. A lot of people say that you should keep one leaf or cut the leaf in half. The reason why is, I'm not really sure the reason why. I don't care about the plant growing. I just want it to root. And the problem is, the leaf, it does 2 things. One, it gets energy from the sun, but it also releases water, right? So that's a drawback. Like I said, if it runs out of water, the plant's going to die. So I don't see the point in keeping one leaf or half of a leaf to help it grow. I don't care about it growing right now. I just want it to survive long enough to root, and then once it's in the ground, then it can get all the sunlight it needs, all the leaves that it needs. Okay, I just finished planting the smaller trimmings. These will take 3 to 4 weeks to root. These will take 4 to 6 weeks to root. I'm gonna put them outside on my porch where it can get bright, indirect light. It's cool on this side of my house. I'm gonna put it on this side of my house so it doesn't dry out. I'm hoping they all make it. I'm not too worried about these. I just hope they root quickly so I can move on and start planting them in the ground and move on to the next step. So I will see you in 3 to 4 weeks on this one, and I will see you on 4 to 6 weeks on this one. Thank you, and subscribe.